Greetings, everybody, on this very fine Sunday morning. My name is, of course, George Morgan, CRG Geo, as part of the Comrade Gaming multiverse, should we say. Obviously, we're involved in various different esports organizations, different games, different platforms. And I'm glad to be joined by the likes of Jack Cunnane, who's my co-commentator. He's in the window down below me. And to my left, obviously, the left I'm looking at anyway, I've got Cedric Thomé right next to me as well, Haas F1 esports driver from the 2020 F1 esports season, and his teammate and colleague, Simon Weigang, who is very kindly dressed for the occasion, Si.
Yeah.
Guys, got to say, great to have you on board. Obviously, it's been a very, very turbulent year. Lots going on, but how are you feeling? You feeling good? Feeling confident? Happy?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Yeah? Feeling good? Simon, you're a bit quiet?
Feel great.
Yeah, feel great. That's good. Jack, how about you? How are you keeping this morning?
Okay, well, I mean, we're all in lockdown, so as good as it can possibly be at the moment. Yeah, feeling all right. We're obviously, me and you are getting prepped for an endurance race later, so George, you need to go faster. Just saying.
Yeah. I've been told on numerous occasions that I need to be a lot quicker for the VSR endurance that we're taking part in later on. Go team commentator and all that. But obviously, in this podcast, it's not about VRS. This is about F1 esports. This is about these two guys to the left of us, because obviously it's been a very crazy season. Obviously, thrills and spills across the board. But we're going to draw ourselves back, take ourselves back further to sort of your origins, Cedric and Simon. I'll start with Cedric, because you're on the top left, should I say, right next to me. Just talk us through your commencement of discovering esports. What got you into sim racing? Where began Cedric Thomé, as we know him?
Well, it all started on F1 2012 when I started online league racing, but at that time it was only for German leagues only. I think for F1 2013, then I started to look more international, and when we had the F1 2015 game not delivering a good multiplayer, we decided to go back to F1 2013, and that's where JD opened the league for season 10, I think, in AOR, and yeah, I signed up for that, and then ever since then, or well, not ever since then, but I had a break for F1 2015 and 16, and then came back to the Xbox on F1 2017, and ever since then, I was competing in online league races until F1 esports came around for, at the start of F1 2017 actually, and yeah, I decided to sign up for that straight away, gave it a shot, and yeah, here we are.
Absolutely. Well, I got to say, what a way to start, indeed. I mean, just talk us through that initial burst, should we say, of getting into league racing. I mean, obviously, no one can ever have a direct plan. It's like Mike Tyson says, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face. But did you have a sort of set to do it? Yeah, just tickled Simon with that comment. But yeah, if you getting started in that, did you have any plans or expectations when you started league racing? Did you have ambitions, any certain sort of things you wanted to set in motion for yourself? Or even a plan at an esports career?
Not at all. I was just doing it for fun with friends, and yeah, eventually I realized I was quite good. I was basically winning everything, and then decided to give it a go internationally to compare myself to others, and then
should have done that last season, win everything.
It's not that easy,
Do it when it matters, man.
That would have been something,
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, I'm going to ask the same question to you as well, Simon. But just to say as well, you've got a lot of pressure in the chat over your big setup announcement. The setups will be discosed
at the end, guys.
Coming at the end of the podcast. Yeah, coming at the end of the podcast.
Yeah, but actually reveal them.
He's gonna lift the curtain and everything.
What do we have even? I think our setups are on time trial.
They're on website.
Cedric looks shocked.
Your setup is on time trial, but then.
Pretty much, I think I've seen my setup in time trial before.
Well, we could have saved that to the end, guys, couldn't we?
Anyway, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. But yeah, Simon, from yourself as well. Obviously, now we've got. I'm going to ask you the same questions that I asked Cedric. Essentially, where did you get started? The birth of Simon Weigang, as we know him as well, in sim racing.
In sim racing, I was about to go way back when I was actually born.
We kind of feel like it's all on you.
You need to be more specific. No, birth in sim racing. I started in 2017 at the start of the year on F1 2016 on the controller, and was all I was doing is time trial because I was never into career mode or any of that. All I wanted to do, I wanted to compare myself against people who were actually good, and so I was trying to beat, lap times. I mean, world records were out of my reach back then, but I was always trying to get into the 200, and I would go on to tell my brother, "Hey, look, dude, look what I did. I was top 200."
Nice.
It was feeling like I was someone.
Yeah.
And then I think a few weeks later, I got invited to a league, TSRL, that from JD now. He made it famous. That's where I started league racing, and I got completely destroyed there. Obviously, all I was pretty much if the ultimate time, imagine the ultimate time trial merchant. I was that guy. I was insanely bad in online and stuff. So yeah, I got they had full quali format. I was out in Q1 every time, and I was watching George Ido. I was watching him completely destroying the league. Damn, how do you do that? He was 8 tenths faster than you. Anything.
Yeah, I hate to pick sides, Simon, but he is a fellow countryman of mine, so
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. That's just how it started, and I just got competitive. I'd be like, I don't want to be smashed like that. I had to have to practice a bit, and I did. And then I bought the wheel in 1.5 years later. I did quite a lot of controller league racing, and I actually qualified for F1 Esports on the controller. And then I bought the wheel in 2018 in the mid year. Got denied in the pro draft in the first one, and got picked in the second one in 2019. And yeah, that's pretty much the story. And from then on out, it was cool.
Yeah,
cool journey.
Well, I wanted to ask as well, because you talked about being a master on time trial, essentially trying to pick off people's times or try and get as close to your biggest rivals at the top end. I mean, do you think that the main difference was that you can be a great time trial merchant, but when you go into an actual league race, racecraft comes into play? Was what was letting you down going into that particular situation?
Yeah, I mean, obviously racecraft comes into play. Then time trial, you have unlimited tries, so you just can go again if you want. Not so much in qualifying. So, but I do think time trial is quite a good tool for beginners to see how quick they are, because what I've learned is there might be people who have great racecraft or are consistent but are slow. And usually the ones you see, the time trial merchants you see just setting world records or all that, they have usually quite big potential. You can more easily work on racecraft than on raw pace, I think. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it helped me. Obviously, some people say it's complete shit, time trial. So I respect that as well. But that's just what I've learned, I think.
Well, no, I think there's elements of truth in the fact that it's very useful, because that's where you get your pace, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. That's where you get the pace.
Yeah,
you have the delta, and you can exactly see lap after lap without having to restart the session or anything. You can just see where you lose time, and essentially going quick in time trial is the same as going quick online, pretty much.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's sometimes tire temperatures and stuff that go into play, but pretty much it's the same thing. So if you're quick there, you can usually apply that to any other scenario, including the race. But at least the basis of it, obviously there are some things like tire management and stuff that you have to learn. But in general, you can say quick there is usually also quick in other scenarios.
Yeah. So as you were going into league racing, how far along or how long did it take for you to get more comfortable in say a competitive race setting, should we say?
Well, yeah, as I said, I started in early 2017, and I think it took me half a year to get to the top split of AOR back then. On the controller, I actually raced against Cedric as well back then. Well, wasn't that pretty? I don't think I've ever really got top 5, but I was happy with P6 sometimes.
Yeah.
I think that was one of this back. Yeah, it was. Well, you learn from it, and it was quite hard on the controller nowadays as well. to, there's some people are like 6 world records on the controller, but it's quite tough to actually do it in racing against real drivers. And I felt that back then, and over time I was sort of at the top, but obviously not competing for wins or anything. I was just on the upper side of the field all the time. And then once I switched to the wheel, I think I really started winning races. Yeah, competing for wins usually. Yeah, the wheel was pretty much the deciding factor.
Yeah. I mean, just talk us through again. I mean, the controller and wheel differences, because of course you're talking chalk and cheese at that point. So how do you go about transferring your pace that you seem to have garnered so well on a pad, should we say, and then trying to get onto a wheel and maybe even finding that extra bit of pace, because that is a monumental task, isn't it, to make that kind of a transition?
Not really. Honestly, the driving is essentially the same thing. You still, going quick, the basics of going quick are the same thing all the time. Try to brake as late as possible, try carrying maximum speed. All these things, same thing on the controller as on the wheel. So I think I had a world record on the wheel after 2 days. So when I switched, so it wasn't for me. It wasn't an issue. Obviously, you have a big issue was the wet, because you didn't feel any traction. But you could be a lot more precise in steering, for example, and braking as well, because on the controller you have sort of vibration that tells you when you're going to lock up.
Yeah, you
don't have that on the wheel, on pedals, and just little things that you have to get used to. But I think by now I have. So
yeah, well,
still sometimes go back on the controller, but it's not a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, you seem to have certainly got yourself into a very good position, I'd imagine. Obviously, being in esports is a huge defining factor of that. Cedric, I want to speak to yourself as well about the initial league racing. Simon brushed on it earlier that you two sort of met in AOR previously. Just talk about the start in AOR, because of course back then Apex Online Racing was the place to be as such, and obviously the place where esports truly flourished and began to grow. So what was your start like in league racing at AOR as such, when you were with Simon and all the other drivers? But what were you like in terms of that field? How competitive was it back then?
Wow, it's a long time ago, actually. I don't know. I think we were all quite close on pace. Obviously, there was this esports qualification championship, where I somehow ended up winning it against Brendan Lee and Sully. But yeah, apart from that, in the actual season from AOR itself, I was always top 5. I don't know how I ended up there. I was not expecting anything. I was like, just want to have fun, get points, and yeah, when turned out to be better than I was initially thinking.
Amazing thing. I mean, it's incredible to see the transition and how Acorns can really grow, in a sense, when you go from league racing up into esports and things like that. Obviously, we've spoken before briefly in the past about how you got into the F1 esports side of things, really to begin with. Obviously, Cedric, just talk us through your move into esports from league racing. What was the journey, essentially, getting started?
Actually, there's not that much detail to it. I just bought the newest F1 game, which was F1 2017 at the time. And yeah, I think just after release, Apex Online Racing announced their qualification championship. And yeah, I was thinking about, should I give it a try? Should I not? And yeah, after thinking about it, I decided to go for it and to participated in it. And yeah, I somehow won it. I don't know how, because I came back. I had a break before that, a year break, and to come back from something like that and then instantly qualify for esports is, I don't know,
natural
something
talent.
special. Yeah, must be. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's phenomenal, because of course you got started essentially in that 2017 season. So talk us through that specific season, because of course you had obviously Brendan Lee won the first F1 esports championship. So talk us through that period as such. I mean, how was your progression through that first season?
Which one you mean? The F1 season?
Yeah, the first one, yeah, that you did.
From AOR?
Yeah, no, from the esports side of things. When you made
the esports?
Yeah.
I wasn't part of the first season.
Well, the first season you were involved in. Sorry. Yeah.
You mean okay?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Should have been more specific. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't get picked in the 2018 Pro Draft, which was a crime. Apparently, I don't know.
It was a crime.
Huge crime.
Yeah, I didn't really like at the draft. I didn't like have any expectations. I already knew that I didn't probably get picked or something. But yeah, the year after that, F1 2018 came out, and yeah, my aim still was to just have fun. I didn't think about getting into esports or something. I just wanted to have fun and win races. And yeah, eventually I got message from JD and got invited to test for Renault, and eventually I got the drive for Renault in the following season for esports. And yeah, that was a major opportunity for me.
Yeah, I mean, phenomenal story as well. I mean, Renault were going through an amazing sort of birth in their own esports sort of growth, because you sort of have Jana Watmir, yourself, and Simon. Of course, you were there as well, Simon, in that Renault team. From my memory recollection, am I quite correct, or am I wrong?
Yes.
Yes. Hey. Just talk us through your start in F1 esports as well, Simon. I'm going to ask you the same question, because obviously, how was that process in bringing you in to that circle as such?
My start. Well, well, it was a good start. The team was great. First, the first event they did, I wasn't really in the competition to drive, because there was some equipment missing. But that's just that's just how it is. And then afterwards, it was a cool group, and it was JD and Jano and Cedric. Can't say anything bad. I mean, I can only say good things about him. I think Cedric can agree. It was a cool year, cool people, and everything was fun. And that's the main thing. I wasn't living with them. I was living at home, just like now. That was maybe the big difference, because JD, obviously, these three were in Britain, but Jano and especially Jano and Cedric, they lived at the factory pretty much. And I was, so that was the big only difference. But as overall, I think the chemistry was cool. Like, whenever I wasn't driving, or like Cedric wasn't driving, there was no. Okay, so sometimes people were not happy, but it wasn't like we were going against each other. Like, we were always supportive of one another. So it was a competitive environment, but I think very fair. And that was really cool.
Yeah, it was just a case that you guys were just striving to improve as such. At the end of the day, if the team's winning, then everyone's winning, as far as you're concerned back then.
Still the case today. So
yeah.
Try to carry that one over.
No, it's very, very good mental attitude on that basis. Jack, I know you obviously have some questions yourself. Obviously, I feel I'm hogging the thing here, but yeah, if you want to bring it in, because I know you wanted to discuss pressures and things like that of that nature. Yeah.
I know you guys have both mentioned that both of you now, you've experienced not being picked in the pro draft. I'm start with you, Simon, because yesterday you told us actually an interesting story about that time that you weren't picked in that draft and having to head home to Germany. But so obviously there was a big motivator there for you. So you want to tell us that story?
Yeah, well, I mean, essentially, it didn't get picked back then, which was absolutely correct. I shouldn't have. To make that clear, I shouldn't have been picked based on what I've achieved before, and based on the fact that I was on the controller, which is a big problem. They don't drive on the controller in the Pro Series. So, anyways, but at that time I was still disappointed, because I thought I might get picked, and I was just building up scenarios in my head where, like, maybe they see this and that, maybe they see this, and maybe they want me then, and I was like, at the end, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get picked. You know, I was like,
Yeah.
this is the year, and that didn't happen. And then obviously I'm driving home with two other Germans, and back then Jan Bodok-Bassi, who was like heading to also Germany because I think he lived there or something. So I was sitting in there with them in a shuttle, in like a bus thing, going from the hotel to the airport. And all of these three got picked back then. Sven got picked, Jem, and also Holzman. So I was sitting there with like, you know, they're all in their team kit and like happy and this and talking about the Pro Series. And I was like, yeah, cool, mega. Very happy. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's gonna happen. You're all gonna smash it in the next year, man. And they like pretty much just ignored me. And then when they left, when they all just went their different separate ways and have separate planes, I'll be like, man, that sucks. Like that hurts. And I'm gonna make sure that won't happen again. And instantly when I got home, I actually talked to my father on the phone on the airport. I was like, man, you know, I've got some money sitting around. I'm gonna buy like the whole thing, whole equipment, like whatever it costs. I don't care. So I bought the play seat, bought everything, and I mean, obviously, it was expensive and it hurt financially as well because you know, in that age you don't have a ton of money. But I was like, it's gonna pay off one day.
Yeah,
and it did. I mean, it was, I achieved what I wanted. I got picked, and then obviously that after you get picked, it's not the end of the road. That's when it starts. You know, that's when the real work starts, and you really have new goals and new aspirations. And but that essentially, you know, that was a really motivating day.
Yeah.
Just
So
turned pain into motivation, pretty much.
exactly. Pick yourself up off the floor. Get back going. I know Cedric, 2018, you weren't picked either. So it must be. There seems to be a common factor here that not getting picked is a huge push. So was that the same for you? That getting picked is like, right, I need to go for it now. I really want to try this.
Yeah, obviously it gives you motivation. Obviously at the day when you don't get picked, you question yourself and all that. But yeah, you have to learn from that and motivate yourself to come back stronger, and then have a year where you can prove yourself and get picked the next year. And I think that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, exactly. And I know, yeah, you guys spend a lot of time on the game as well. It must be as well really important to have a healthy kind of balance in life as well. So,
when he had healthy, he was like, I might be out of here.
yeah, but
might not be from here.
Living the healthy life, you know.
Yeah.
But
like,
obviously,
let me just say, like Renault, he was like, there was like a coach, and he was like trying to get us on a good, you know, nutrition plan and stuff. And all Cedric was eating was like bag of chips and a Rockstar energy drink.
Hey, they don't call it energy drink
for and cookies.
Yeah, but they don't call it energy drink for no reason, do they? If you think about it,
you know, but maybe probably not the nutritionist's dream, you know. So
no,
oh dear.
Yeah, that was a running gag, like just living the healthy life.
Yeah,
I'm not living
the healthy life.
Living the healthy life. Yeah, so that was because I intervened there. Sorry.
Yeah, but that actually brings me on to that's actually a perfect question, actually, because you mentioned that at Renault they have nutritionists and the mental coaches and all that these guys are bringing in. So, it's becoming even more obviously more important that you have to stay fit and healthy for esports as well now, just as much as the real drivers. But I was my actual question was it's important to have a healthy balance with practicing and having and doing, you know, keeping your hobbies going as well. So Cedric, is it difficult to keep that balance of, you know, not spending 20 hours on F1 and then only having 4 hours to yourself? It must be really important to just have that balance, that you have something else that you're able to do.
definitely. Yeah, especially last year was really difficult to keep anything going apart from F1. To be honest,
Mm.
even like playing other games with friends or something, because you just kept playing F1 all day. And yeah, after a certain amount of time on one game, you get crazy. You start making mistakes, just frustrating yourself. All that. I think everyone knows that. And yeah, especially that's something I wanted to do this year. Keep like a healthy balance, do my hobbies, and play
Mhm.
other games with friends.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah,
very
exactly.
important for me.
Yeah, I know, Simon, you're a big fan of the gym work, so obviously that must be really important for you as well. It's that you're able to do both and keep that balance.
I preferably yes. Fortunately, now not because it's closed.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but
So is it home workouts then, Simon? Is that do you equip your house for that sort of stuff?
Not really.
No.
Nah. Just sleeping.
Sleeping.
It's all falling apart.
Yeah, no, it's a crazy time naturally.
I'll have enough time at the gym one day.
Yeah,
I'm not really doing much. But no, I mean, for me, the thing is, I want to do a lot of things in my life, like a lot of hobbies. I told you about it yesterday. The day's only so long, you can't.
Yeah.
So I want to be like practicing this, which is probably the most important thing. I want to go to university or at least study because we are from home now. Then I want to have other hobbies. I want to play basketball. I like that. I want to play football. I like that. I want to learn a new language. I like that. I want to learn this skill. I like that. There's so much things, cool things you can do with your life, but only so much time and also only so much energy. You can't be doing things like from where you wake up until you go to bed. It's just not how the human body works. And it's quite complicated.
Yeah, it's all about moderation, isn't it? I think. I mean, actually, you want to get a wholesome life where you can sort of spread yourself amongst various different things that you find interesting, which is a very healthy way to be. I mean, that's you're quite right. That's how we're programmed as human beings. We're meant to be working in its correct sense. I mean, Cedric, just going off what Simon said there, do you have a sort of similar thing reflecting yourself? Because I know you said about playing video games with your friends and all that kind of things. Is there other things involved in Cedric's life that you'd like to take forward furthermore in the future, or?
Well, not more forward than a hobby. I don't like playing football, playing darts as I have in the background here. Yeah, it's all just a hobby. There's nothing like I can make a living out of it. Yeah.
No, absolutely.
What, darts?
What?
Darts.
Yeah.
Maybe if you start drinking beer.
No, what?
That's what you said. You said that darts makes you better when you have a beer or two.
Yeah, it calms the nerves.
I don't know. Have you tried it? You should try it then.
No, it's good social sport. Yeah, good social sport. Obviously, the championships are on at the moment. I think everyone's talking about it, aren't they? The World Championships in darts. But I mean, obviously, we want to tread back onto the esports side of things as well. Obviously, this season has been very, very tantalizing. Obviously, in a different sort of scenario, given the fact that COVID has unfortunately hit us. But you both driving for Haas, obviously, this season. What were your thoughts and feelings going into the start of this year? Expectations? Obviously, it's a bit tricky given the COVID circle. Were there any initial sort of goals you had in mind before you stepped into this season? Start with you, Cedric.
Yeah.
We'll start with you, Cedric.
Oh, fuck's sake.
I thought that was established because he's at the top.
Yeah, well, he's right next to me. I just do that. Yeah, sorry, that's bad of me, really, isn't it?
I mean, it's fine. I can't actually remember if we talked about goals, to be honest. Did we? I can't remember.
No, not really. No.
I guess we just winged it and thought,
let's see what
happens.
Did you have any personal goals?
I mean, yes, but it didn't work the way we wanted, or I wanted it. I think everybody has goals, but you have to stay realistic. Before the season, you can make easy goals, but once you're in the season, you see where everyone stands pace-wise as well. And yeah, if you don't take the opportunities you get, then yeah, your goals go far away from yourself.
I mean, it like
And
you say, it goes back to my earlier statement. Like Mike Tyson says, everyone's
Yeah.
got a plan until they get punched in the face, essentially.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, like I know. Speaking to you, Simon, yesterday, I mean, there were some technical issues. I think wasn't there with some hardware or something at the start of the season, which sort of handicapped you a little bit.
Yeah, there was some problems, but we could have definitely also done a lot, more than what we did, or a lot better. Yeah, there was some issues to the whole season. It stretched, but what I also have to say about that is there was issues that if I were more, if I would have looked closer, I would have discovered them before the season starts. So that's something that I, can actively work on, and that was probably the biggest lesson I had the whole season. That it's you can only achieve great things with everything. I mean, everything yourself, and the thing you work with works in the optimal window, and that's what you just have to, that's you're responsible for that. And but I just failed in preparing everything the way it has to be for me to succeed. And now I realize that the hard way, because in the first event we were off by a lot. Like I remember Bahrain, I was doing good laps. Like my lap was good, and I was P13. I was like, damn, there's something is wrong. There's something wrong. And yeah, and the other two was like completely off. And I changed, and I had a setting that was pretty faulty. And then I changed it for Zandvoort when I was practicing Zandvoort and time trial. And within 5 minutes, I got 2/10 faster just by feeling more. I was like, damn, like, what are you even doing with your life? Pretty much, like, why did you let that happen? And from then, I was like always at least in the hunt for, like, pace wise. I could have always achieved pole if I PB'd, other than Brazil, for example. But that was just really good from them. But yeah, as I said, just things that I have to prepare better for next season.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at your points tallies, I mean, certainly yourself, going back to what you were saying, your points were accrued basically in the second half of the season, pretty much, because you look at it. Austria, you got a P6, you got a P4 in Britain, P6 at Belgium, Mexico a P7, so 34 points accrued, and so you really started to get the wheels in motion heading into the second half of the season. I mean, the points were quite healthy in terms of yourselves. Good top 10 finishes in those 4 races. Just talk about the feeling of achieving that, because that's quite a significant achievement, certainly considering that the grid, I would say, is a lot stronger than where it has been in previous seasons.
Well, yeah, it was good. I mean, important points that we had to score. I mean, I would lie if I don't. My mindset is always what you have is good, but it has to be more, and there has to be a way to get more. Has to be. And sometimes when you don't see more, then you just have then there's a sign that you have to bring yourself in the position that you can see it. It's weird. So yeah, I'm proud of these things, but if I look at my season, I just look at the things that didn't work and make sure that they do work next year.
Absolutely. Well, it's all about growth. I mean, yourself, Cedric, as well, you picked up points, I would say. I mean, you had a very interesting season as such, because you pulled off a real good points finish at Brazil, got a P10, got a P8 at Shanghai as well in China. Obviously, I don't think everything went Haas's way at the start. I think you probably agree with that. But at the same time, you were pretty much both caught up in a very hefty midfield battle. Just talk about it from your perspective from the get-go, because it can be really tough. Once you're in that midfield battle, it's probably one of the biggest challenges, trying to escape that part of the circuit, isn't it? Or that part of the classification.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, as Simon said, our preparation compared to the other teams wasn't good. And especially in the first event, as Simon said as well, yeah, we were just off. We didn't know the tricks, and yeah, also myself, I think especially in qualifying, I didn't do a great job. That's why I was out of position a lot of times, and I think I got out of 12 races, I got seven times damage in the race, which made it almost impossible to score any points. And I had 2 good races in Shanghai and Brazil where I got points in the end. But yeah, it's not enough. You have to look at more, and that's something we have to go into detail and improve, especially for myself in qualifying. That's why I have to improve the most. And yeah,
Yeah, I mean, where do you look at? Because obviously, we all see. I know you may not have participated in all the Pro Series events. Obviously, you got picked when you did. But looking back at 2017, 18, 19, now 20, etc., as we've looked at the seasons prior, how do you think that the competitiveness has increased as it's gone on? Do you think it's definitely got stiffer?
it got incredibly. It's incredible. Like there's like you mess up one corner and you're literally out of the top 10. Basically, it's can't compare that to like 2 years ago. It's now so close. I think even in real life you see it now. It's the midfield teams are like within 2/10, and one good lap can make the difference in that. And it's the same for esports, just from P1 to P20. If you get a really good lap, you're basically top 5, and if you fuck up, you're out of Q1. So I think compared to like 2017, 2018, the competition got massive, really massive.
I mean, same for you as well, Simon. Of course, looking back from where you started or from what you've seen from previous esports series, have you seen that same transition? Has it definitely got harder and harder as the seasons get on?
It has, especially on tracks where you see, like, where it's not that much about cutting corners, but it's more about rhythm and flow and stuff. The grid is really fast, and I mean, you also have to see it's from home, so everyone, the equipment you race on is the same as you practice on, and obviously in the arena you lose X amount of performance. It's normal because it's a new rig, and you had maybe half an hour on that before, and yeah, is by far the hardest year it's ever been, but I think it's also good. It has to progress and has to get better, and yeah, great challenge, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I know that Jack, me and you have watched. So we've commented together. Watching the Pro Series on how sharp some of these guys are. I mean, what's your perspective? Because I'm interested in your inset as well. Because obviously we're commentators. We do league racing. Obviously there is a sort of a correlation. I like to think when it goes into esports. I'm interested to get your thoughts, and maybe you have some questions for the guys as well on that as well. I'm not sure.
Oh God, you're asking me for analysis again. Oh. I know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I've seen the same thing. Like 2017, there was a clear split in the field, but now you move on and it's like a 20-car train, and consistently throughout a whole race distance. So. Yeah, and from my perspective anyway, even from a viewer's perspective, let's say it's got closer. I've watched every year; it's got closer, definitely. But guys, I know just from what you were saying there, you seem to be guys that kind of put a lot of pressure on yourselves to perform. That I know Simon says everything; it's got to be more all the time. It's got to be more. So how there's obviously pressure you put on yourself, and there's obviously expectations, I would assume, from Haas that to perform. So, how do you deal with the pressure that you put on yourself, and the pressure that maybe gets put on you from the team? I'll start with you, Simon.
I don't want to listen to any pressure from teams, because why? That only would make me worse. It's enough from my own pressure, and if I live up to that, everything else comes naturally. So I don't think it's a good idea to be like, man, if I don't get top 10 now, I'm out of my seat. I won't perform. So just be like, I want to do the lap I know I can do, I practiced for. I want to be as close as my PB as possible. Then you go onto the lap and you don't think about that anymore. You think about, where do I brake? And when do I accelerate? Just literally from task to task. If you do that, it's fine, and you'll see what happens. You do your thing and see what happens. You can't. All you can do is give your best, and then live with the outcome pretty much.
Yeah, Cedric, how would you deal with your own pressure that you put on yourself as well?
Well, obviously, the pressure comes from expectations, and especially from yourself. And yeah, as Simon said, when you go on laps, you're not really thinking about the pressure. You just want to get the lap in. And yeah, I don't know. It's hard to explain, like something you're like that's in your head and you're dealing with, but you just have to cope with that, and then yeah, get the lap in when it matters. And yeah, I think that's something especially for me, I that got to me last year or last season, and that I need to work on as well.
Yeah, I'll continue on that as well, because obviously you had the struggles in this season. It wasn't ideal for you guys. So Cedric, for you, in your head, what needs to improve? What do you need to improve on?
For myself, I mean, there's always room for improvement everywhere, but I think the mental side might be something I have to look at. I literally never looked at the mental side of it, but it might be something worth considering for this year. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know, Simon, we talked about it briefly yesterday about the mental side of F1 esports. Now it seems to be getting ever more present that you've got to have a healthy mind as well to perform, it seems.
Yeah, true. But I think still you win and lose in your preparation. I'm pretty sure of. And obviously, there's sometimes where you just choke out of your mind, like I did in Italy, for example. I was like completely choked it. I think I was the session I did before as practice. I went like half a second quicker, all of just because of okay, don't invalidate. So sometimes you can actually mess it up on the day and not in the preparation. But in general, yeah, you're right. You have to don't think about it. Treat it as much as practice as you can, and you're good to go. But this far easier said than done. Far easier. It's really hard to find the tricks, and yeah, it's really like finding how your own brain works and try to bypass some mechanisms that make you nervous, because it can't happen. It only makes you worse, especially around tracks like Italy, where there's not much. You can't ease into a corner. Like there are tracks like you can ease into the lap. Like you're nervous, okay, you can ease into it. Like the first corner was easy, like you can feel the track and stuff, and then it just goes from there naturally. But when there's a track like Italy, where I struggled with, like first corner, hard braking zone, you don't have a long braking zone. It's like 1 point you have to brake, and then there's one line you have to take and you have to cut it. And if you don't cut it perfectly, your lap is completely ruined because your car is unsettled. So there is no room for anything. So these tracks are like awful for pressure situations, and I just couldn't deal with it, and I'm owning up to that. So yeah, also definitely an area that I can improve on.
Yeah, for sure. Now as well, there were some positive moments throughout the season. So I'll ask Cedric, what was what in your head was your proudest achievement in this season?
Well, that's pretty easy. The P8 in China. I think that was near enough perfect race. We had a good strategy. Made critical moves on track, and yeah, from P15 to P8 is pretty good in esports, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Simon, for you?
Britain.
Yeah.
Especially because I don't know if anyone knows, but I started P5 or P6, can't remember. But
P6, I think, yeah.
P6. But I was actually looking like a disaster, because after lap 1, I think I was in P11. So what I did was I copied Moreno's strategy. Okay, let's just wing it. And it worked. So what's it called? Copied his IP into what is it? Yeah, IP it is, I think. intellectual property, pretty much. Just copy the strategy.
Yeah.
It worked. So yeah, but I was actually in front of him. So he started 2 positions back behind me, and he just got me at the start. And so it was like a roller coaster of emotions, especially if you consider what happened before that race. Oh shit!
Yeah.
I can't. No one knows.
I'm not sure we can talk about that one.
Okay.
That's a Simon
I can't-
Weigang exclusive, folks.
Can't talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we
It
won't.
was
We
looking
won't.
a lot. And it was looking a lot worse.
Yeah,
Totally.
and like literally a lot worse.
Like I'm missing my wheel. Worse.
The thing is, though, going back to that result, I mean, that is like we spoke before about the DRS trains in F1 esports, because it's so tough, because if you've got to be the one that's brave enough to break the train, haven't you, at some point, and you've got to be able to sort of make the move. Now, it can easily go 2 ways. It's very much a 50-50 situation, because of course if it goes wrong, you might find yourself towards the back of the grid, because you tend to find a guy behind you is obviously going to get a toe off the car that's in front of you, and that's the way it goes, isn't it? So you need to get the move done in order to get any type of advantage, or at least to hold on. I mean, just how
Either that.
does it take a lot of bottle? That's what I'm trying to say. It takes a lot of bottle to sort of make these moves and try and improve.
In a train, it's interesting. You can either do that and be like, I have to make moves, or you can be like the guy back sitting right. Okay, look at these idiots making moves.
That's true.
They were just picking up positions.
Yeah.
So it's whatever you feel like on that day, I guess. Sometimes you want to make moves, sometimes you want to deplete. Because also in a slipstream train, only way you make a move is just deplete your ERS. Maybe you get 1 position, but your ERS is gone.
And then you're at the mercy of the guy behind you.
What are you gonna do now? So
Yeah.
it's like a weird chess game. I think if you're like in a train P14, it's over. You have to be lucky. Or at least I think, maybe. I don't know what people did that season, but there's not. It's really hard to make a lot of moves in the field, I think. So
does that place extra emphasis on qualifying then? 100%.
Yeah, surely.
Yeah. So would you say that the performance in qualifying is the priority, I suppose, in a sense that
I'm going to tell you it is. It's quite hard to start in top 5 and finish outside the top 10. It's actually hard. Like once you're locked in that train, you have to be really off pace to lose it. So it's all qualifying pretty much. So.
Yeah. Would you agree with that as well, Cedric? So 100% the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's where the higher pressure comes in, because that's where you're going to start of the race. That can decide where you finish at the same time. It's just that close between all of you guys in terms of deltas. I mean, you see, how many drivers do you see within a tenth of a second of each other on a grid? I mean, it's sensational, really, isn't it? I mean,
sometimes 10. I think it was 10 once, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. I think
once or twice even.
Yeah, I believe it
was Japan, but I was never expected. Japan. It was closer than Austria. Like Japan was interesting, because that was like really impressive. Like I didn't even actually really choke. Like I didn't push as much as I should. I was like, okay, just get a lap and it should be enough. I think I was looking quite quick in practice, and I was like, okay, just do your lap. I made a small mistake in turn 1, which cost me maybe, I don't know, let's say 700s. But I was okay, just get it over with. It should still be top 15. But it wasn't. I was out. So
well, it just goes to show, doesn't it, that even being perfect sometimes isn't enough. It's that extra gear, isn't it? That extra bit of inspiration, that extra bit of imagination to sort of create moves on track that makes the difference. Because at the end of the day, you've got 20 perfect drivers out there that have all prepared and built themselves for it. There's me trying to be diplomatic.
Sometimes it gets a bit overhyped. It's like not that bad, but it's just it's just the nature of the game as well. What are you gonna do? Like that, you can only do so much. All the cars are the same. Everyone has slipstream. Everyone has DRS. You have dirty air in front, and it gets heavier if you approach even closer. That's why you always see that half a second delta between everyone in the train. If you go down to 1/10, the car in front still has slipstream, but less dirty air, so they're naturally going to pull away in the corners again. So yeah, you want to make sure you be in top 7 and you can go on for a good race, like a really good race. So.
Absolutely. Well, I think what we'll do is, Jack, I think we'll bring in some questions, shall we, from the viewers, because there has been quite a few that have come through. So we'll obviously go through a list of them. I'm just going to rinse my way through the chat because there's quite a few people. There's someone saying, "Can Simon add me on COD, please?" That's off Mathis.
I can do that.
Yeah. Don't worry, Mathis, he's on the case. Let's have a little look. I'm going to pick one here. Well, Cam Royal has brought one out. We'll start with his. So he says, what would they like to see from F1 team side of things? What for them as drivers would they improve and enhance their ability? Or what for them as drivers would improve and enhance their ability to compete consistently within the top 10? So we'll start with you, Cedric. Start with Cedric because he hasn't spoken for a little bit. So we'll give him.
That's a tough question. There's quite a lot of things you can do to increase performance. I think, last year at Renault we had the ability to have telemetry. So that's people wouldn't think that's something you would look into more, but it's actually quite useful once you understand how you read it. Then you could have an analyst that analyzes your lap when you record yourself. There's so much you can do, but I don't know. I think it's hard to organize for some teams, so not every team has this. And I think if you aim for perfection, then I think that's something you have to take into consideration.
Would you agree with that, Simon? What do you think in your, from your mindset or your position? Do you think would you want to see?
There's one clear thing I could think about is when the tournament is in the arena, having a rig at the hotel room. That's actually a really big benefit. But
you said different last year.
Why? I wasn't saying that. I was saying that the carrying stuff was bad, and we don't have to do that much. But I think it does make a difference.
Okay.
Well, there we go. Well,
correctly.
It's his opinion. I mean, that can be fair. I mean, who am I to judge? I mean, I'm no professional.
I didn't ever say we don't need it.
Well, you don't. Yeah, you didn't say you don't need it, but you said I don't need to practice right now.
Yeah, well, a bit less, but I needed it, just not as much.
Yeah, okay? I mean, it's a good thing, though. It's a good thing.
It is.
Well, sometimes the breaks can be just as important as the practice as well, because obviously you've got to revitalize. And obviously, I know I speak to Jack because we're doing the endurance series at the moment, aren't we, Jack? And if you over practice, because we're practicing those even from our amateurish standpoint, you can sort of put your head in a shed, if you like, and sort of lose it, and you won't, it's just a pointless practice then, isn't it? Essentially. So you've got to pick your moments, I think. So I'd agree with that. I think there is some plus points behind that. Lewis Welch wants to know, how much do you train for each track?
Each track.
Well, we don't know a total number, but.
I don't want to say anything wrong now. That's not enough. Not enough.
Well, yeah, this year not enough. No.
Not enough.
No, I agree on that. There's no limit, pretty much. You always have room to improve.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the structure? What's the structure when it comes down to it? Because obviously you look at the calendar, I assume, and then you sort of prioritize your time around a specific race week. Obviously.
Yeah. Well, no, we just do practice.
Yeah.
We just play,
Yeah.
Let's do some quali and then.
Yeah. Let's do that track. Next day, that track.
It's a lot easier than some people think. We could have maybe done a bit more specific practice, meaning not only qualifying. But I mean, why hide it? I mean, it's just
Yeah, I mean, as you said, like there's a lot of room for improvement, especially for practice schedule.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Well, Luis Suarez has come out now and said, okay, roughly how long do you spend on the game each day? I think that's what he's trying to get at, I think.
yeah, I mean, 4 hours, 4 hours roughly.
Yeah.
In the preparation, yeah, around.
Obviously, a few days before the event, it's probably a bit more. But yeah, on a normal day, like 4 to 5 hours.
Yeah, but that 4 hours could be spent looking at different areas of your race. You could be, like you say, looking at quali, then look at something else, or do you dedicate it to one specific thing?
Well, it's a hard topic for us. I don't know if you realize that. Track is sort of
I'm just surgically removing the information from you. It's confidential, is it? That's what you're saying.
I mean, not really, is it?
No.
Yeah,
well, you tell me.
But it's also
we only did qualifying. Well, we said that already, so
yeah, that's fair enough.
Well, sometimes we did practice, but I think for event 2, or was it 2? Yeah, 2. I was like, I was starting. Yeah, on every track, I think I was like starting the race, and we had practice, but we pretty much didn't race practice on the day of the actual race. So when there was something off, we're like, oh shit, balance the team right after lap 16. So what are we gonna do now?
Oh,
no.
The race is in 1 hour. Let's do some race practice.
The race is an hour. Well, on the grid, I'm just gonna change anti-roll bar on the rear a bit less. Should be fine, right? Should be fine.
Oh, okay.
Which I don't. What's it called? Advice. I'm strongly against that. You shouldn't do that when you're in F1 esports.
What, changing the roll bar?
System.
Do enough practice, kids, and stay away from drugs. We didn't do drugs, but it was just.
You heard the man. You heard him.
Oh god.
Shouldn't change the setup when you go into an esports race. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Just.
Well, it's hard to tell. You can't really put a defined figure on it, can you? I suppose that's it depends on what you want to practice and how much you really want to go at it, and it depends on the circumstances, I'd imagine as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Arno Moliner. Hello again. How they prepare? How he says how they prepare for F1 esports. I presume that goes back to how do you prepare for F1 esports. We probably touched base on this one, but. Obviously, if he's just joined.
Wasn't that the question right before that?
I think so. Was it? That was Lewis.
Pretty sure it was, George.
Was it?
Yeah, well, I the answer to that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is exactly the same. Yeah, that's okay.
I can't imagine how often I get that question. It's always the same question.
Yeah, I'd imagine it's a poignant question. Yeah,
I think I might put a tweet out one day and say, "I practice."
You could do a seminar, the Simon Weigang seminar, so every day, and then everyone can join and learn from you. That's what you could do.
I would attend it.
You would attend it. Cedric would join you. Cedric wants to learn.
Yeah, but only for free.
You wouldn't do it for free.
I would do it for free.
You would do it for free. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, charging it for that.
Yeah. Well, he did say. He did come on and say afterwards, mind. He said, is Evo streaming soon, and Simon? So you guys also, because I know a lot of esports drivers now are getting into streaming as a side project. I've seen that Brendan Lee's doing it, Jana Watmir is doing it now. And I'm just wondering whether you guys are going through the same thing. Is that something you're...
Jana Watmir, he obviously has insane growth on YouTube.
Yeah. I think he had 20...
out, surprised. Why does he have such growth when I, don't have that? And dude, he's champion. He earns that relevance. So easy calculation, dude. But yeah, there's obviously if I do league racing, I wouldn't get the same numbers and stuff. But I don't think it should be about that at all. The same as streaming. Some people had crazy numbers like Marcel or anything, or also Jano, and they all deserve that. They all earn that, and that's cool. So yeah, if I start streaming again, which I probably will, but well, yeah, then it's going to be fun. But I'm not really so concerned about numbers.
No. I mean, I don't think you really want to get hung up on it, do you? Because there's always room for growth. You're always going to improve. I mean, you can't slack off unless you do something significantly wrong.
Well, obviously it's cool, but you can't force it.
No. I mean, I think me and Jack can testament to that, because of course, you know, we don't force anything. I mean, we're not in a position to force anything, are we? At the end of the day, Jack, you know, I mean, we've got to, you know, sort of roll with it and just do our best, you know, as much as you guys do. I think the situation obviously is that you guys certainly have a platform that you're able to grow on, and I think that's certainly where Jarno has gained his traction on. I think he's managed to hit like 20k or something like that on the subspace now, which apparently he earned the same number of followers he had a month ago or something in the space of this month. So he's pretty much doubled his sub offering. So
that's crazy.
It's phenomenal figures, isn't it? But sensational. So Lewis Welch, now F1 Esports is done, do you plan on doing leagues like PSGL and ORL? Ooh, big question. Let's start with Cedric.
Not planned at the moment.
No plan.
You know, league racing doesn't feel the same as a few years ago, and yeah, it's good to have a break from F1. You know, we have practice like I don't know how many hours, and yeah, now I don't want to commit myself to anything because I just enjoy my time right now on the off season.
No, that's understandable. It's a very very big season, obviously very, very tough, and obviously the downtime is just as important as well. Simon, yourself, because I know we spoke before, you of course have been in ORL, because I've had the pleasure of commentating on you in the past. Obviously looking ahead now, is there any league racing planned for Simon Weigang? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You heard it here first, folks. Can we disclose where you're going?
I don't know. There's nothing to disclose because I don't even know. I'll make a decision soon. Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna hide it. Like either ORL or this new one. What's it called again?
So PSGL.
PSGL. Wherever is the best grid, I'm gonna do.
Well, I can confirm that me and Jack are the commentators for PSGL. So, you know,
that's a plus.
That's a plus. Yay!
he's only saying that because we're here.
Yeah, I know. You watch when we go off stream later. I tell you what, it's going to be brutal.
As I said, I'm just gonna see what the best grid is.
Yeah,
and the best drivers, and that's where I want to race in.
Yeah, no, that's understandable because of course it's
that. If everyone goes to PSGL and no one ends up at ORL, then I mean, you know, sorry for them, but why would I be there? So,
well, yeah, I can understand.
Wherever the trend, I'm following the masses.
You're following the masses. Yeah, follow the masses.
George, I've just actually seen an interesting question in the chat. Actually, I thought this is a good one from Arno Molnar as well. Did you guys prefer would you have preferred being in the arena doing the F1 Esports, or did you prefer actually being at home doing the races? I'll start with you, Cedric, first.
I would prefer to be at the arena, to be honest.
Yeah, why is that?
To be honest, from home it feels more like league racing, and at the arena it's more like a competition. You feel more like, this you know, this is it. You're going into a competition right now, and from home it's like every other league. You could literally race in any league and it feels the same.
Yeah. Same for you, Simon, or?
Yeah, I mean, I would prefer the arena, but I can tell you, I was racing in leagues before, and it was a bit worse than leagues, but it's about the same feeling, yeah. But I would prefer the arena as well. Only thing I wouldn't prefer is the traveling. Like, well, it's cool to be in London. I like the city, but the travel itself wasn't that cool. But the arena is cooler, definitely.
No, that's understandable. I think, like Cedric, I think
the cinema. You mean?
Sorry.
The cinema.
Yeah,
it's basically a cinema.
Yeah,
the arena is a big word. That thing. No hate, by the way.
Yeah,
there's no hate.
I mean, I'm looking at because I don't think we touched on it enough. I mean, the pro draft, because of course you both have seen that, you know, and just sitting in that seat because obviously I've seen it on the TV, right? The guys come up when their name's called, they take the shirt off whoever's running the team at that time. What's it like sitting in that seat waiting for your name to be called? Because I know we sort of brushed over that a little bit. So I know you mentioned that, of course, not being picked is difficult, but actually being in the arena itself, waiting and hoping your name's going to be called. I mean, what's that like, personally?
Well, they're better investment of time than that. It's quite. It's not a good time. You just sit there, told not to move, and clap when they ever tell you to clap, and that's it.
Yeah. What about emotionally, though? Is there anything going on inside that your butterflies as such, or?
Yeah, that's truly. You want to be picked and you don't want to be left out, because that sucks definitely. But I mean, the process of sitting there isn't the best one. But you do have you'd be like, okay, would be nice to hear my name now, and then Tom Deacon calls you out, and then you go and you say something that you shouldn't have said. Make a comment that you shouldn't have said. That's what I did in 2019, and I got reprimanded for it. And
Well, I got a feeling that Tom might be watching, in fact, because I know that you spoke to him briefly, didn't you, Jack? So
yeah, I did. Yeah,
yeah. I mean,
I know he's got. I know he's got a soft spot for the Haas boys. So
yeah. Hello, Tom.
Yeah, I mean, Tom. I mean, how did that whole relationship start? Because I imagine that must have acorned from somewhere. Because, of course, Tom's been involved in the series now for a long, long time, and I've got to say, Tom has always been a very great person to talk to. I've had my own little conversations over Twitter with him in the past, but I'm just keen to get an understanding of what do you think drew Tom to Haas, because he's very vocal on the broadcast about how supportive he is of the Haas team and you guys in particular. Do you know where that might have blossomed from? Or?
Well, whenever I saw him, we talked, and I think we get along quite well. There's an interesting story about him. I think it was Pro Series 2019. Obviously, when else that's the only. But yeah, there was we talked, and he said he was doing a YouTube series on also football stuff. I think it was Copa 90 or something.
Oh right, yeah.
He went to every football stadium and was a fan of the team, and he also did it at Bayern München. Which is my favorite team. And I watched these episodes, and I watched these back then. It was like 2013, and then we just talked, and for some reason that came up. Be like, yeah, I also did that super fan or whatever it was called. I was like, dude, what? Really? That was you? I was like, damn. I was watching these like with a passion. Like, I was really into that. Just see how small the world is, really. And but no, he's a cool guy. Like nearly everyone in the community and stuff. So yeah, naturally we get along, and I don't know why exactly. I think he gets along with everyone, but I don't know exactly why he likes Haas that much. But I mean, it just tells that he has a great taste. So can't.
Do you think? Because obviously Haas in F1, I'm not just saying esports, but in F1 in general, they're sort of. Don't want to say exactly like Williams, but at the moment they certainly do look like the underdog because they are an independent team as such. So do you think a lot of it stems from that as well? Do you think, because a lot of people do like to support the underdogs in a sense, and do you get a sense that Haas as a team sort of feel that they're trying to rise their way up against these manufacturers as such?
Yeah, but if you were underdog, he did something wrong in the year before.
That's true.
So it's a sorry reminder. Is that what you're saying?
I don't want to be the underdog, especially in F1 esports, where there's nothing that there's no car that's worse than the guy next to you. So we look at Alfa Romeo. No one's gonna call them an underdog because they drive towards the back of the field in the real life. So naturally, you don't want to be the underdog.
No.
Which we didn't exactly achieve. We'll probably still be some sort of underdog next year. But yeah, if I could choose, I wouldn't want to be an underdog.
No. It's an interesting thing, really. I got to say, but like I said, it's always round for change, and esports has the potential to change a lot more rapidly than what the real life F1 is. I'm just intrigued as well to get your thoughts and opinions on the F1 grid this season, because I think obviously next season we're seeing some interesting changes. Obviously, I'm going to step into real F1 now. We've got Fernando Alonso making a return as well. I'm intrigued to get your perspective on what you make of his return, and obviously the driver changes that have come through. Obviously, Albon's without a seat now. They've brought in Tsunoda into AlphaTauri, as well as many other changes. Just give us your perspective on where you see F1 going for next season, because it's going to be a vastly different grid, and of course Schumachers are back on the grid as well, which is superb.
Which I'm very happy about.
Yeah.
Especially that it's in the same team as I'm not sure if the same team as I am or was, Cedric.
Technically,
we're not
you
on the
could say it.
contract. So
Yeah.
anyway, I'm not saying I'm leaving, by the way. I just don't know it. So, yeah, well, it's interesting, the Alonso thing, and Tsunoda is like, to Kvyat. I think Kvyat did a good job towards the end. It was just tough luck. Did a bit too little, too late. I thought something. Isn't that the saying? Too little, too late. That's probably what happened there. And then 2 rookies at Haas. It's going to be risky because you don't really have a benchmark. But you mean with who is it? Tsunoda, he's going up against Gasly. You know exactly what he is and how he's performing against this, and you don't know that if you have 2 rookies, this is just going to be risky. But I think it's going to be also Alonso. You never know what he's going to do. Look what he did with not with Van Dorn, but how Van Dorn stacked up against him in the same car. It was way better. And let's see if he kept his, because he was already, I think back then he was already 36 or something when he retired the first time. So now he's at nearly 40, and no one knows how he's gonna, if he kept his performance or anything. Because back when Schumacher came back, he was like 41 or something. So he was even older than that, and he obviously probably lost some speed. You can't deny that.
So Michael did get that pole lap, didn't he, around Monaco, which was sensational.
2012.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so 40, like, just crazy ages. That's also a reason. Like, I think why wouldn't you be able to do that in esports as well? Just drive until you're like in your mid-30s or late 30s. Don't really see it. Like my father he tells me like, yeah, but you can't do that until you lose, reactions when you're 30. You can't compete with the young guys anymore.
Well, I mean, I
don't really understand why, because
would you
F1 they essentially do the same thing. They do the same thing plus actual G forces. So you wouldn't see.
I was going to say, like, you make an interesting point, because esports itself, can actually bring back some former drivers, because we saw Jenson Button and Alonso, even Enzo Fittipaldi racing in the race sim racing series that happened previously. And I got to say, Fittipaldi looked quite good in the car. I felt when he was racing, and certainly Jenson, he's sort of taken to sim racing as well. Not to mention now fully into GT racing. Do you really think that a lot of guys can prolong their careers outside of real racing into esports? Are we going to see a natural transition here?
Well, I'm not going to act like I know how it is to drive a race car. So I can't tell you that, because I don't know how it works with one another. I only hear it from people who did both, and they say it's possible. So I have to go off them. If they would say, it's not possible, then I would have to believe them, because why would I be like, arrogant enough to say I know exactly how it is? I can imagine how it is because I do this. It's still very different, but I think the basics are the same, or the basic attributes you need. Driving quick on the screen is essentially, the basics are the same in real life. How you go quick. So yeah, what I think, and what a lot of people said, was the guys who rise to the top in any racing series, Would it be virtual or real life to just have a set of attributes that you don't. What I'm saying is you're not born with the ability to drive a real car and not sim racing, and you're not born with the ability to drive in sim racing and not the real car. It's nothing like that. It's like man-made machines. It's just about hand-eye coordination and the ability to persist in bad times and willing to improve on yourself, and the rest comes naturally. So I wouldn't see why anyone on the top of F1 esports couldn't drive an F1 car with time. I don't see an issue.
We've seen, I think, Jack, going back, Brendan Lee, of course, and James Baldwin, for example. I mean, Brendan Lee, I know, drove in the E-Rock series, wasn't it? I believe it was, and he did quite well there on his first stint. He's now since done racing in Formula Ford, and James Baldwin, of course, in the GT, who I got to say, I think blew everyone's expectations on his first visit for Jenson Button's Rocket Motorsport team. Did you get a chance to watch some of that and think, wow, this could be done?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I definitely watched James doing really well in GT. And yeah, I mean, it's a cool thing. No one approached me yet, but I definitely wouldn't say no. But, it's also not for everyone. Some people don't even want to do it. They don't want to do it. They just say, I want to do esports and not real racing, which is obviously completely fine. And I think, yeah, we'll have to see.
What about you?
A different topic.
I was going to say, what about you yourself, Cedric, as well? Would you ever want to set foot inside a car as well after esports? Because I know after we discussed yesterday, obviously you've been staunch esports up to this point. Would it be something that might interest you in the future?
I mean, I wouldn't turn down the opportunity, but it's hard, I don't think we'll ever open up an opportunity like that unless you're like top of esports all the time, and then maybe a real life team is approaching you and says, "Hey, you want to try it?" And yeah,
probably not F1 team, but yeah.
Huh?
Probably not F1 team, maybe a lower category.
Nah, I don't think you can go straight into F1.
Yeah.
Be interesting.
That would be quite an achievement.
Yeah. Well, no, I think there's obviously various series out there that you can get yourself started in. That's for sure. But no, it's very intriguing.
Yeah, you don't. There's not usually racing series aren't your job. People pay for it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So who pays you then?
Yeah.
It's always people. It's just a misconception. People like every racing series. My friends as well. Like, you don't get paid in F3. You pay for F3. You don't get paid in F2. You pay for it. So it's like, why would you get paid for esports? Yeah, you don't have to pay for it. Why would I go and pay for like a racing series, for example? I can't do that. I'm not about money, but I can also not earn anything. I kind of don't want to starve to death.
No, you need a good level of sponsorship behind you, don't you? It's why you see some. Yeah.
Difficult question.
Yeah, it is tough. Obviously, I can see that we've gone on for nearly 90 minutes, and I know we discussed, because we nearly sent this out as a recording, didn't we? Initially,
yeah.
And we said afterwards, there's no way we could cram all of this into half an hour. So, got to say, it's been intriguing. I just want to obviously get, and I think Jack, you'd be interested to say this as well. I mean, obviously, the futures for you guys are still undetermined, but obviously, looking into the future. What are your plans going forward? We'll start with yourself this time, Simon. Catch you off guard this time. We'll start from the bottom, work our way up. Simon.
I'm already expecting Cedric's.
Curveball. But yeah, no. Obviously, ambitions for the future. You must have some plans working like clockwork in your head. I know you're on downtime, but these things never really escape the membrane, do they? Really?
Yeah, I'm not really on downtime, to be honest, but. My expectations, but I want to be working on the exact things that I know went wrong, and then I want to fight for a championship, and then both drivers and in the constructors. And just looking at this year's pace, it wasn't out of the reach. I mean, obviously everyone was doing great things, but I don't think I know if I did tiny things better, I could have fought for wins. And I don't think I was far off this year on multiple occasions. So that's my goal: fight top 5 every time next year.
Would you say that your form in the second half of the season sort of, pictures your actual true pace as opposed to the difficulties you had at the start of the season? Would you say that definitely what you achieved in those 4 races is where Simon Weigang actually is, really?
Well, yeah, I would. But, as I said, the first event wasn't representative at all. But then I got to admit also, like, why wouldn't always hype me up for stuff that I ain't am. So Simon Weigang is also choking in Italy right now, something I am right now, but have to work on to get better and then actually do it when it matters. So I think there's great, potentials. Don't like the word, but there's a lot of room for improvement, and I'll definitely won't, leave any stone unturned to make sure that I can't even say to improve. All I can say is like improve in the specific areas and see what happens. I think I'm gonna get better, but we'll see.
Absolutely. And yourself, Cedric, in terms of your plans, I know that you said before downtime at the moment, but I'd imagine you still got some plans being chalked out in your head right now. I mean, what are your thoughts going forward into the first couple of months going into this year?
Yeah, obviously, it would be great to continue. I have a lot of stuff in my head I want to do, especially going into details about all the stuff that went wrong last year. And yeah, I just want to have finally a good season in esports, to have more stuff gone right rather than wrong, which hasn't been the case for the last 2 years. And yeah, and just to be honest, I don't have any expectation what I want to achieve. I just want to have stuff going right and then see what happens.
Well, I think that's a fair assessment from both of you, to be fair. And obviously, we'll look forward to seeing what happens with you guys in the future as well. And just quickly as well, we obviously want to talk about, just briefly before we go, Comrade Gaming, of course, we're part of it. I mean, what does it mean to be part of a community such as this? Just as we finish, we'll start with yourself, Cedric.
It's been incredible. Honestly, I've been here since the start of the F1 roster, and to see how it evolves over the years, it's been incredible. Such an amazing group of people. Everyone helps each other with setups, driving style, videos on boards, analyzing all that stuff. It's been phenomenal.
And yourself, Simon, what does it mean to you? Because I know obviously we spoke briefly about this yesterday, but obviously being part of CRG is quite something. What about yourself? I mean, has it enabled you to learn something more on top of what you've already learned as such? And
no, it's great people. As I said yesterday, everyone is it's a great group, and I was there quite early, not as early as Cedric, but I've seen the team grow, and I've seen Ben pick it up from not a good place, let's put it that way, and really put his heart into it, and gave it back, gave some life back into it, and it's just remarkable, honestly. Like every single one, as I said, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not like the most involved person in the team, but has nothing to do with them. I want to emphasize that it's just how I am and how I work. I'm just I'm not much on Discord. I also a problem. My Discord is only on my PC. I can't get that into my account because I don't even know what email address I use. Or something. I need to set it up on my phone, so I'm not. Anyways, the team is great, and I'm just really honored that they want me to be part of it, and I wish them the best, and I think they're going to do really well, or we're going to do really well.
Well, I think certainly yourselves have brought some very, very good level of professionalism to the team as well, and it's great to see so many different people from different walks of life, different parts of the sim racing community, and whether it may be your drivers, whether it be your content creators, your artists, your development team, it all comes in and sort of comes together and forms this great unit, which is absolutely superb. And I think now, as we are about to head over to the 100-minute mark, I think we're going to slowly bring this to an end. But I just want to say, do you guys want to promote your socials? We'll start with you, Cedric. Where can people find Cedric Thomé?
only on Twitter at CRG_Evo.
There you go. CRG_Evo. You heard it. Cedric, Thomé. Simon, how about yourself?
Twitter, CRG Simon, no underscore.
There you go. CRG Simon _ Jack, how about yourself? Commentator extraordinaire from Ireland.
So my Twitter is at Jack C Coms all together. Simon, thanks for following back.
Oof.
No. Thank you for reminding me.
It all comes together in the end. There you go. See the wonders of the CRG debrief at the end of the day. But yes, you can catch me as well, CRG Geo, and like Simon, no spaces either on mine. But guys, I'd like to thank everyone for watching this first episode of the CRG debrief. This is going to be a regular thing that we're going to bring up, hopefully, and you can enjoy more content on the Comrade Gaming channel, of course.
Whatever happens in the future, by the way, I can't change it. So I'm stuck with my ad at Twitter, because if I do, I'll lose my verified.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. So you've got to be CRG for life now.
Yeah,
there you go. You got him locked
already
in.
Locked down.
Yeah,
I'm locked in.
He's locked in. Cedric, are you verified too?
That's true, yeah.
Oh, so you're both stuck. Oh, you're both stuck.
Yeah, we're both.
Yeah. Hey, Jack, guess what? We're not verified.
Let's sign that
I'm not
10-year
planning
contract.
on leaving Comrade, but Jano did it a bit better. Just Jano Opmeyer is at.
Yeah, true.
So we could have learned from him.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, I'm sure.
Stay forever.
I'm sure Ben would be happy to hear about that happy accident.
Yeah.
In fact, 10-year contract going.
Yeah. I just see it now. Comrade Gaming, God's Plan starts playing. That's what he's come out with.
I got no leverage anymore for the next contract negotiations.
That's
a good point.
Yeah, very true. But yeah, guys, like I said before, please leave a like and a subscribe as well to this stream. It's been an absolutely extraordinary chat, and I've got to say, I've really enjoyed it speaking to yourself, Cedric and Simon. There's just so much we've managed to touch on, and there's probably even more, but I'd imagine we'll probably have you guys back on very, very soon. I'd imagine to obviously talk about your plans going forward, maybe looking at the future of F1 esports and various other things you might be involved in. So yeah, we look forward to that, and we wish you both the very best for the future as well. And so guys, I hope you all enjoyed that. Like I said, you can catch this stream again very, very soon. Please leave a like and subscribe. I've been CRG Geo, he's been Jack C Coms, he's been CRG Evo, and CRG Simon. We'll see you again very soon. Goodbye.
See you soon.